This is Julia James Davis, and welcome to The War on Beauty. Catholicism and fashion have had a very long and interwoven relationship, specifically fashion at the highest levels of clothes making and couture. Catholicism is important in fashion, and fashion is important in Catholicism. But before we proceed, a lot of people do get offended about the use of Catholic imagery in fashion, and I think that's because people see fashion as something that's purely vanity or purely utilitarian, but in my opinion, fashion is art. A stunning fashion show can have just as much impact as a beautiful painting or a sculpture or even performance art like an opera, and in many cases, it has even more of an impact. And there is no one thing referenced more in fashion than Catholicism. Not Christianity, but specifically the Catholic Church. And it's because Catholicism and the Church is beauty itself. It's unmatched architecture, its rich traditions and rituals, the mystical prayers, the holy mass, the heavenly chants, the plethora of artistic masterpieces that have come out of it, and finally, the wonderful vestments and habits worn by the clergy. Fashion is actually so important in the Catholic faith. It wouldn't be enough to just have the beautiful architecture and buildings and paintings and the chants if you also didn't have a fittingly dressed pope or bishop or priest to celebrate the ceremonies that happen within those buildings and within those contexts. So Catholic garments feature incredible rich brocades for special ceremonies or stark crisp black fabric worn in the daily habits. And all of the clothes featured very dramatic silhouettes and unique religious accessories like the mitre worn by the popes and bishops, and even the incredible variety of beautiful crosses. All of the ways that the religious dress are purposeful. They reflect the sacredness of that person's office, and also their clothes aid in the supreme beauty that is the Mass. But also the simple daily habits worn by the religious serve the purpose to demarcate them from the world around them as being different and as being consecrated. There is a tailor shop named Gamarelli in Rome that has been the tailor for the popes since 1798 when it began under the pontificate of Pope Pius VI, and it has been run by the same family ever since. All of their vestments, their shoes, their accessories are handmade in the highest quality fabrics and craftsmanship. And so that just shows that fashion is so important to Catholicism. There would not be this level of attention and detail put on it if it wasn't. And it really makes sense because the Catholic Church has always used intense beauty and aesthetics to convey not only the eternal importance of the religion as the way to salvation, but also because beauty lifts the viewer up to contemplate God. And all of the beauty of the church makes it a sort of reflection of heaven on earth. So it's really no surprise that fashion designers who are in the business of making beauty are constantly referencing it in their work. The most obvious examples of Catholic inspiration in fashion are the more flashy ones, like the Versace Fall/Winter 1997 collection or John Galliano's literal Pope that went down the runway in 2000, or Jean-Paul Gaultier's Spring/Summer 2007 collection. But to me, the most interesting and profound example of Catholic influence in fashion is in the work of Coco Chanel. Coco Chanel was raised by nuns from the age of 12 in a Cistercian convent called Aubazine Abbey. The stark, austere surroundings and the lifestyle that went along with that influenced Chanel deeply. Notably the plain black and white habits of the nuns and the simple yet beautiful geometric architecture of the convent. Black and white would go on to be the signature color palette of Chanel's fashion brand, and she also frequently used Maltese crosses, which were inspired by the the cuffs made for Chanel by the House of Vidura, but also even the interlocking CC logo was allegedly inspired by the stained glass windows of the Abbey, and the naming of Chanel No. 5 perfume was also allegedly influenced by her time at the Abbey, because the number 5 is a highly symbolic number within Catholicism. Chanel was truly a revolutionary in fashion by her blending of simplicity and sportswear with luxury, which is a high-low dichotomy very emblematic of Catholicism. For example, the vows of poverty taken by the consecrated religious, in contrast to the grandeur of the Catholic expression, and the simple black or white habits versus the very rich and intricate vestments used in the Mass. And beyond just inspiration, some designers have made garments directly for the church, like Riccardo Tisci, who was the creative director of Givenchy. In 2015, he designed the cape and dress for the Our Lady of Grace statue in Pallangianello, his hometown in Italy. This cape was made out of Swarovski crystals and gold thread and took 3,000 hours of work. Despite being seemingly polarized things, fashion and Catholicism, they're actually very tightly linked. And when you think about it, it actually makes so much sense, because I can't think of anything better or more beautifully dressed than the church. So it's no wonder that fashion designers have always been inspired by the church's rich sartorial traditions. And in my opinion, there is absolutely nothing better than when faith meets fashion. I have always wondered how these two seemingly disparate things within myself, my absolute love of fashion, I'm a designer, and my very serious devotion to my Catholic faith can come together. And I love seeing that actually it can. These two things make complete sense together. And I think that is just so beautiful, and one of the kind of juxtapositions and paradoxes that make the church so completely rich and interesting and just amazing. I love it. And so, in conclusion, I truly believe that all beauty does come directly or indirectly from Holy Mother Church. And you can really see that reflected in fashion. And this is something that was actually recently explored in a 2018 Met exhibit called Heavenly Bodies, which was devoted to the relationship between fashion and specifically the Catholic tradition. I would love to know though, who are some of your favorite designers? Mine is hands down John Galliano. I think he is so brilliant. There has been nobody that has ever made clothes more beautiful and interesting and edgy yet feminine than he has. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you will please like, comment, and subscribe, and please hit the notification bell when you do subscribe so that you don't miss out on any videos. And I'll see you in the next video.